Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome along to the Raw Link Up podcast. This is episode 7. I am your host, Amazing Sniper Beef, joined alongside by my co-host.
Hi guys, Devastate here and welcome back to the podcast. I'm incredibly excited for this episode. We don't have a special guest, but you'll find out what's going to happen in a couple of seconds' time.
Indeed. We are 5 days away until the 2024 Link Up. 5 days away. It's come round so fast. We're 4 days away till the opening ceremony. Devastate and Master Never have been planning with me on some stuff that we've got to sort for the opening ceremony. That's got to be done Friday afternoon. But yeah, then we've got a big day of events and activities for the opening ceremony. But then the gaming kicks off on the Sunday, and in 5 days, honestly, time has just flown by. When I started the 100-day countdown on TikTok, 3 months ago, I was like, this is a long time away, and we're now at 5 days away. I mean, just time flies by, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's felt incredibly insane just even doing this podcast, and we're in episode 7 now.
Yeah.
And just that's 7 weeks. That has just, it's almost 2 months. It's just disappeared. So
yeah.
No, it has gone incredibly quickly. And I hope we've got some great content for you this week and all of next week for all the people listening to the podcast. And we are going to desperately try to do a live podcast next week. If we can't make it work, it will be pre-recorded, but that'll be in person. We'll be doing it with multiple gamers, so I'm incredibly excited to see some more of them in the flesh and they can speak to you. But if we manage to get it live, then we can actually do a live Q&A, which I think presents some incredible opportunities for you to really get to know them a little bit better.
Yeah, and also just for those watching and listening, you get a feel for the sort of vibe and how everyone's feeling during the link up, because honestly, it starts on such a massive high when we have the open ceremony, and so it's sort of bubbling up then, and everyone's sort of excited, and obviously we're drinking and stuff, so it's even more exciting as it would be. And then when everyone starts arriving at the venue on the Sunday, and everyone starts setting up their desks, moving furniture around, getting the cables out, there's just a massive buzz around the room, and it's just it's so exciting. And then throughout the week, just the takeaways as well. Someone on TikTok the other day was commenting, I'm looking forward to you guys consuming 8 pounds of doner, and I'm like, yes, absolutely, all over that. So yeah, very excited. If we can get a live podcast going. Obviously it won't be a really long episode, because obviously gaming has got to take precedence for the link up. But no, if we can get a live one going, that would be fantastic for sure. But
now I'm going to throw potentially one thing to you, Beef. I don't think we need to do it live, but what we could do is we could do a mukbang during the week.
Yeah,
we could. Outside, we could just pre-record. We could just record a mukbang of all of us eating food, chucking it out there, and potentially and see what the people think of our food choices.
Because
we'll be having a conversation.
Yeah, I was going to say the food choices throughout the week, I think, are a big part of what a lot of people also love about the link up, in that they can't fathom ordering that much takeaway in the course of a week, let alone a day. Obviously, we're planning one day to do 4 takeaways in one day, and that's going to be a challenge to eat it. But when you're ordering takeaway twice a day, every day for 7 days, and there's 12 of you in a room, the content from just a food perspective is just on another level, isn't it?
Agreed. And what I want people to do is, if you want to see us do a mukbang, get that in the comments below. I want to see a thumbs up on the video, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And if there's anything else that you want us to do when we're all together, let us know, because I think we have some ideas what we're going to do, but we want to hear from you. What more can we bring to you into so you can share in the special moment of the Royal Link Cup.
Yeah, completely agree. Anyway, moving on to today's podcast episode. Obviously in podcast episode 1, Devastate interviewed myself. And for podcast episode number 7 today, we're flipping the tables and I am going to interview Devastate. Obviously last year we got a bit of a flavour of what Devastate's all about, and he was very active on all the streams on TikTok last year. But for those of you who weren't hugely part of last year, hopefully this will give you a little bit more of an insight into Devastate from a gaming perspective, but also just as a person as well. So, should we kick off with the questions, Devastate?
Yeah, let's go.
Cool. All right. Talk to me about both your earliest memory of gaming and also your fondest earliest memory of gaming.
Okay. So, I can take you sort of through my gaming history in totality. So, the very first games device I had was a Commodore 64.
Nice.
And that was, what's that, early
90s?
Early 90s, maybe late
80s. Yeah, something like that.
So I had that, and you had to, it came with very tiny onboard memory. Like the computer itself could only really perform as a calculator. You had to buy a separate attachment, which was a cassette box. So you used to buy games on cassettes, on these 8mm cassettes, and you used to get the tape. And you used to put the tape in the top down, click it down, and it would run through the cassette. It would load the game up. Some games were so big that you had to take the cassette out, turn it over, and put it in and carry on playing it. Now, you then play the game, but then, if you died, on some games, you had to start the whole process over again. So I remember, I was pretty certain it was something like RoboCop versus Terminator, or it was a game like that. And I remember I spent like 40 minutes loading to play this one level, and I died in like a minute. And then I then took it out, did the whole thing again, waited another 40 minutes, and then played for about 4 minutes, and died again. And I was like, I cannot do this to myself anymore. Now there were some games that loaded a lot quicker that you played, but that's really my very first like element of gaming, and I remember like the frustration level as a child, like having to do that was insane. So
the cartridges, just very quickly.
It's not cartridges, it's a cassette. It's like a cassette you put in your car.
So because when you said like cassette, I'm thinking. Remember on the original Nintendo and the Super and the SNES?
Yeah.
Obviously, if it and the Mega Drive, if it wasn't working, you take it out, blow it,
yeah,
and put it back in. Was that because I never had a Commodore 64? Was it like that or not?
No. So it was. You know, you used to go into HMV, you buy like a single or an album. It would be on a cassette and it would be like a 90-minute cassette, 45 minutes on each side. You used to turn the cassette
and then you turn it with a pencil.
Yeah, so like when it got scrambled, you used to turn it with the pencil. So it worked in exactly the same way. It was a side-loading cassette player that you popped in. You'd have to press play on the unit.
Yeah.
And then you go on, and then you'd have to press like a key command on the Commodore 64, and it would load up the game.
Wow.
So this is before like a Windows or before any form of proper graphical operating system.
Yeah,
this was,
OS,
and you didn't have a joystick. It came with a joystick. So like it was absolutely.
Didn't have a gamepad. It had a joystick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So I had that, and then after a lot of frustration with that, I moved on. I had a NES, so the original Nintendo. So I remember getting that, and it came with Super Mario and Duck Hunt. and
you
I
get the
had
light
the had the light going, but as Acidic Virus said, you could just go up to the TV
yeah,
and just cheat. It was, and it was like at the time, you're a young kid, you're like, oh my god, how does this work? But
yeah.
I think that was really that was a great experience, and I used to play for hours on that, and I remember used to every like on the weekends I'd go and see like my grandparents, and I would like, and the console was about this sort of size. So used to like unplug it all, just take it and like just carry the console under your arm, and walking into my grandparents' house, and then sit at my grandparents' house for an entire weekend and just play it, unpack it all, come home, and then sit and do it all at home.
And one thing the younger viewers won't realise is the cable that you had to use to connect it to the TV it's called a SCART cable.
It was
So
before SCART. Before
was it?
SCART, no, it was a cable that came out, and if you remember, it ran into the aerial socket. So you had like a little box.
It was red.
It was called an RF. It was an RF like switcher on it. So you set your aerial. So you had to switch between whether the aerial feed was going through or whether the games feed was coming through.
Yeah.
And then came SCART. So
Yeah,
miles before HDMI, or SCART was like the very first like sort of cross, I think, channel system. I think that as soon as we sort of moved to late VHS, SCART came in, but it was certainly on DVDs for a long period of time.
Yeah, late VHS would have been what, mid-90s to mid to late 90s, something like that. Because I definitely remember when I got the Xbox, we were on SCART cable for the Xbox. And the Xbox would have been what, early 2000s. So yeah. But yeah, SCART cable's absolutely massive, like proper thick. Yeah. Like ignore your HDMI cables, which are like the size, literally like the size of a pen. Like your SCART cable, I'm not even joking, was like that.
Yeah.
It's like a plane flying into the Grand Canyon. Wrestling reference if anyone is a wrestling fan.
I was on a NES. Now I never went to a Super Nintendo. I then went to, and we spoke about this on a previous video, I went to a Mega Drive. Then so I was playing obviously Sonic and like all the standard Mega Drive games, and then I had a Sega CD or Mega CD. It's called different things in different countries, but they released two ones. One in the US, which like was almost like a flatbed unit, and the console went on properly on top. But the one in the UK was like, it was almost like a side. It was almost looked like what a George Foreman with a side plate, and you so you basically had this CD like unit and had like a tray across the side. You put your Mega Drive on that. This would then slide together, and you had top loading CDs. And there was it was the very first time that I played on anything that had CD, but it was still 16-bit gaming. It wasn't 32-bit, I don't believe. I think it was still 16-bit gaming. But
the graphics would have been a lot better, wouldn't they?
No, because that's what the bits refer to. What they were able to do with CD is obviously store a lot more data, and loading was almost instantaneous.
Instant, yeah.
But I can't remember any great game on that I had. I had a few racing games, but I can't remember anything superb on that. So then I had that. Then I went on to PlayStation.
PS1.
PS1.
Would have been late 90s.
Yeah. Then I remember I was working in then a lot later on I was working in retail, and I worked at shops that were selling games consoles. And I remember I think it was the day after or 2 days after release, I got the PlayStation 2. And I did the PlayStation 2 to absolute death.
So
I played
early 2000s, wouldn't it?
That would have been about probably 2001, 2003, 2002, 2003.
Yeah, something like that. It was early, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So did you get your first PC before that, or?
I mean, I was incredibly lucky. I got my first. So I had a PC. I want to when I would say I got a PC. I remember it was a 486. So
Four
that
eight
must have
six.
so that must have been around the time of the Mega Drive.
So it would have been 96, 95,
Or I might.
maybe a little bit later. Because I remember
So
we got ours. We got
yeah,
ours. It was a tiny. You remember Tiny PCs, the
I do
brand?
remember. Yeah, they used to have a
Yeah,
shop.
yeah, tiny PCs, and we got a 17-inch monitor with it, and it was a P2 400, and it was, I think it was
Yeah.
£1,700, and I was like, this is so good. And then obviously we're at the crux of when internet came on, and
Okay. Yeah.
we had dial up. And for those of you who aren't au fait with dial up, obviously when you go to a web page now, it loads, it's instant. But with dial up, literally you load the web page. So you go onto, I don't know, Google, for example, it would load like this. So you get a line, and then another line, and then another line, and it might take a couple of minutes to load one page. So imagine trying to do homework, and you're going onto a website, and you got to sit and you typed in, I don't know, mountains, for example, and you got to sit there and wait for 2 minutes to see if you got the right web page with the right information on.
You know, it's also hilarious, and no one ever talks about this with dial-up. I remember it was a couple of years later when I had a better PC, but I was on. But it connected through the phone line, so no one could use the phone.
No.
When you were using the internet, right?
Yeah.
But what would happen is if someone went and picked up the phone, it would cut your internet off.
Yeah,
Right?
and then you'd hear it
Yeah.
on the dial-up, would you? They'd be like, "Hello," and you'd hear like the robotized
Yeah.
voice of
The
whoever
beep,
in
beep,
your
beep, beep,
household
beep,
picked up the
beep,
phone,
yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, who's on the internet? I want to make a phone call." Because mobile phones, no one really had a mobile phone in the mid to late 90s, that I knew of anyway. I mean, we got them. I was 17, so that'd been 2001 when I got my first mobile phone.
I think I got mine possibly 16. I mean, we could divert onto a mobile phone subject because I could talk about mobile phones all day. But I remember on that first computer, my mum used to. So she went and bought a magazine. It was called Computer Shopper, right? And the magazine, no word of a lie, was like this thick.
Yeah,
and it used to cost like £3, and it would come out maybe once a month, maybe even longer than that. And it was basically just stacked full of PC specs, like what to look for in a PC. It was like almost like the PC buyer's Bible. Yeah. And so my mum scoured this thing, and she bought this computer. I could never tell you where it came from, but I believe it was like £1,000, something like that. I mean, yeah. So we got that, and she bought it, and she bought two things. She bought, actually, it was for homework. She got a copy of Britannia Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
No. In Carter. In Carter
95.
In Carter 95. So and you basically put the disc in, and this is basically, for those of you who have no idea what I'm chatting about, this is like Wikipedia, but on a CD-ROM. And in 1995, you could use this to find out basically any information. This is what you used to do your homework. It had everything. And it was basically like the Wikipedia of today. But then, of course, if anything new happened, you just had to buy the next year's one, and 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 ultimately that's how they got you.
I remember getting one, and it was like so many discs.
Yeah,
like you'd open it up, and you're like, disc 1, disc 2, disc 3. When does it end?
Yeah.
And like when you buy like a single CD now, it like the case is like yay big, but like the Encarta CD cases were like this big because it was like just stacked with discs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I genuinely think I've still got an Encarta. I think I'll tell you what, for the next podcast episode, I'll see if I can find. I think I've still got a
Yeah. Do a bit of a retro episode. Well, so Mum got me that, and then I was allowed to buy one game, and then there was a game out at the time, and it was called Z. It was just the letter Z
Yeah.
or Z, and I'm not even joking. So I played this game, and it was a sort of an RTS game, but like you just basically had like robots, and you had to like attack the top of the map. I mean, it's so basic by today's standards. You'll probably get it on a website, like just running in a website. And anyway, so I got that, and I played it so much that night that for the very first time in my life, when I went to sleep that night, I remember this. Went to sleep, and I closed my eyes, and all I could saw was the graphics of the game, just like almost burnt onto my retinas, because I probably played it for like 8 hours, 9 hours straight. And of course, you're on a 15-inch CRT TV that you're playing close to the screen and stuff like that. So no, it's I played on that, and then I remember having I think FIFA, one of the first FIFA games.
Yeah.
Not the it was the very first sort of what I call proper graphical one. And then I was basically hooked on PCs forever then, and upgraded them, built them. I was always literally, so from probably 95 onwards, I was almost full-time PC gamer and part-time console. But there were some games that you couldn't get on PC, so you end up buying a console.
Yeah.
Or when you'd have friends come around. That's why I'd have a PlayStation 2. I'd have friends come around. We'd play Pro Evo Soccer, or we'd play various other sort of two plays. A bit of Tiger Woods back in the day. So yeah, that was essentially the console was for having friends around and playing, and the PC was for like me actually gaming or doing homework.
Yeah, and then I think that probably then moved us into the link up, didn't it? Because obviously when we then started doing the link up, it was like, oh look, we can actually play like LAN games together. And then obviously with the onset of like the internet and internet speeds getting better, we could then play remotely as like we do. Oh, excuse me, as remotely as we do now. So yeah, it probably just went on from there, didn't it?
Yeah, well, just for the viewers at home, so I used to work with Massanevri, and that's how we sort of got chatting. And then he obviously, by that time, like the link up was already sort of a thing, and he invited me round, and like literally from that moment was sort of hooked into it. And that's why I think.
I was gonna say, what year did you start?
So I classified. I spoke with Massanevri over the weekend, and next year will be my 20th. So I'm 2005 was being my first.
So I was 2002.
Yeah.
So that's how long me and Devastate have known each other.
Yeah.
Well over 20 years, comfortably.
So and ultimately a few of us ended up working together. That's how we sort of met, who weren't part of like the original sort of circle. And so that's why I've been sort of involved ever since.
Indeed. Well, I mean that's I'll say that's fairly atypical of most of the gamers at the link up, isn't it? In terms of their history from a gaming point of view, you'd start on something. For those of us who are Devastate and I are pretty much the same age. We're in the same school year at school. We pretty much started mid 90s in terms of like really getting into console gaming, as it would be, but maybe started slightly before. I mean, I started with the NES and the Game Boy, obviously the handheld Game Boy back in the day with the green screen.
Ooh, you have reminded me of something that I never had a Game Boy.
I've got two. I've literally got two in my bedroom upstairs at the moment.
Mate, there's a lot of hacks that you could do with these now.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no
Um,
doubt. Yeah, I've got two original Game Boys, my original Nintendo, my original Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, and Xbox.
Mate, like if you, as I say, I think you should just create like a wall, like just create a cabinet with all of them. I think it would look so epic.
Yeah. Because I mean, once I kit the office out, so for the next episode of the podcast, I might give you guys a little quick tour of my setup. So I've got the new PC sorted, the new monitors sorted. So it's a little bit higher because this is a 32-inch 4K monitor. And I've just said to Devastate before we came on the podcast today, I got my desk, my new Secret Labs Magnus Pro XL has arrived. So I'm going to get that set up straight after tonight's podcast, and then you will see that probably in a couple of days on TikTok as well.
Awesome. I'm
Cool.
incredibly excited to see your new setup.
Yes. So I can't wait to get the new desk in.
Although for those might be able to see just the tiniest like reflection in the glass. Can see
Oh,
the
yeah,
can see some RGB. Like
Yeah,
there's some RGB down there.
look, because I've got a little color changer with it as well.
Oh
We can
no!
go to yellow. We can go to orange. Oh no, that's the side one. Hang on.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So I can change all the colours in the world. The kids love that. Anyway, on to more important matters.
Yeah.
Talk to me about some games you're really looking forward to the link up this year.
So, I mean, people on the podcast would have heard me banging about X Defiant. I think it's a quality game. Now, the reason why I'm really looking forward to playing it is because I'm a big fan of the Chase the Robot like dog through it. It's the same as what Team Fortress 2 used to be. That was
Must push little cart.
Must push little cart. And
Yeah.
so for me, like I used to love that. And it's one of the best sort of emulations of it, right? With the modern twist. So that's why all the other game modes don't really care about, but like that game mode is something I really like playing. And I think in a team game, I think that'd be superb. I am looking forward to a bit of Sins of a Solar Empire 2.
Massively looking forward to that.
Get a game in beforehand, Beef. Like, just get a practice game in, because I mean, we could probably do it like a game that I could take you through. Almost like the first half an hour is so fundamentally different. Like,
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think I played one game last year, but then I think we just stopped playing it because it was like, oh, okay, there's only one race that you can play.
Now there's two. And it's expansive, and I'm not gonna lie. I mean, this is very noob behaviour, but I've played 3 games and I've only won one against like medium. It's like,
wow,
yeah. And so there's something that I'm not getting right in terms of my start. So I'm still really there. I need to get another game. I'm running out of days, but I need to get another game in beforehand. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got a couple of days where I might have some time, so I'm going to have to get a game in before Sunday, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Anything else you're looking forward to particularly?
I think we've got some.
I was going to say, should we walk through the tier list?
Well, I tell you what. Why don't you tell me all the games on the list? Yeah. And I will give you some, because I think we've had everyone sort of rank games now. So if we've got a top 10, then I'll go through the top 20, and then I'll tell you what I'm really excited.
If I say, I'll give the viewers and listeners a quick overview. So what's happened is all of the gamers have basically put down a list of games that they want to play during the link up, and that could be an RTS, it could be a racing game, it could be an FPS game. It could be whatever you like. We put all the games you want to play on there, and then we put it all in a big list, and then we've then voted for what games that we really want to play, and then however many votes each game gets, then moves it further up the list. So if I talk through the top 10, so number 1 with 9 votes is Golf with Your Friends.
100%. Right, yeah. I mean, I think I was on stream on. For those of you who don't know, that we've been, both myself and Beefy have been streaming on Twitch and on YouTube. So twitch.tv/The Royal Link. If you can go and give us a follow, lovely to have you. But so yeah, we had done a couple of streams. So I streamed on Saturday, and I was saying to the live chat that I've done 180 hours of golf with your friends now, and I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing.
But I think like golf with your friends is just, it's such an easy game that everyone can go, yeah, I'll play because it's fun. You don't need a brain cell to play it. It's not difficult to play, and it's hilarious because once everyone's into the hole, and there's, let's say, a couple of people left, you get to then go and watch and see how bad they are and just laugh at them, which I think is a really, really good thing. Battlefield 5 is at number 2 with 7 votes.
Yeah, I think it's probably the standout one that everyone already owns, and those who don't own it, you can go and pick it up for like £5. So
that's the one. That's the one based in First World War, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is.
No,
is that Battlefield 1? No, I actually can't tell you either. There's too many Battlefield games.
4, 5, somewhere between 4, 5, and 1. I don't know, but
we've all got it.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure it was on my list. Number 3, Star Wars, Starship Troopers Extermination.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I did like that last year. They've just done a lot of new announcements around the game. We just had various Games Fests that have just gone by. Summer Games Fest, Xbox, Ubisoft just don't like. It was, I think, about 2 weeks ago. We had literally every day a new festival of gaming where people were announcing stuff. Now, there was a lot of chat during that event about Starship Troopers. So yes, I'm eager to see what has changed, because the one thing, as much as I liked it, once you played 3 or 4 games, it felt so repetitive. It was so repetitive, and you just, as long as you knew what you were doing, it just became sort of not easy, because obviously as soon as, because we got up to a level that became like impossible to play. But as soon as like we got up to fairly competent level, it lost its appeal. So I'm really keen to see what they've changed in the year between last year and this year.
Agreed. Now, the next game is probably going to divide you and I, because I think you quite like this game, but I think I'm going to say this is probably the worst game on the entire list for me.
Wow.
Among Us.
Oh, okay. So, I didn't think that I thought you might like it, and let me tell you. But let me tell you why. Because as a poker player, it's one hell of a dream game.
Yes,
it's about right, telling a story, and especially knowing some people that rage quit. Really dislike it and have struggled to lie. I think that you can be the killer and you just go, oh, I just saw Rage do it, and he'll just go into it like a mad one, like because he'll know that like I'm lying, and you go and say it. I was like, I saw you, and you can see it with just such a straight face. So I think it's a very basic game. Don't get me wrong, very basic game. Having 1 or 2 games, I'm happy to. I'll play it, but that's as much as we can play. I think there's some great entertainment value in there, but in terms of, am I looking forward to it? Not really.
No, I think what's probably good for those listening and watching now is like, you'll probably think to yourself, well, Beef doesn't like that game, so what does he do when everyone else is playing it? Because there'll be scenarios, and this won't just be for just me and an Among Us. There'll be, so like Rage Quits absolutely hates Sins of a Solar Empire, he absolutely detests it. So there'll be scenarios where not everybody will be playing the same game, and that's fine. That's fine, because some people just don't like certain games. So if everyone goes, right, we're going to play Among Us, and I'll be like, nah, not keen, I'm fine. There's probably going to be one other person, maybe 2 or 3, who might not want to play that, and we'll go, right, what should we play? So you don't always play the same game, but something like Golf with Your Friends generally will all play, because everyone plays it, and it's pretty easy. But yeah, Among Us, I really don't want to play, not looking forward to it, if I'm honest.
And I think what I
Um,
would just say, just with those, like the big long RTS games, we usually start them at like 10 in the
10.
morning, and then they'll run till like 2, for example. Then
Longer
we'll
than that. 4.
okay, I'm using that as an example. Then we usually play another game till about 6. Then we sort of have like some chill out games, a bit of golf with your friends, a bit of Among, like these quick fun games where people are getting food, people are like chilling out for a bit, people go and see their family for a tiny bit at a time as well, before we get into sort of like what I call like the big evening game that could last us another 3 or 4 hours. So
Yeah.
and then we could top the evening off with maybe 1 or 2 friendly games, maybe some Gartic phone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's generally how the days get structured.
Yeah, because usually I was going to say usually through the day it's RTS, isn't it? Most
Yeah.
of the time, because during the day we're awake, and obviously as we've got older now, it's becoming more challenging to be gaming into the early hours. So we do RTS during the day, and then in the evening we want to do something fast paced, FPS, fun, laughter, etc., so that we don't literally we're not sitting here just falling asleep at the desks. All right, next one, Fall Guys.
Again, just another fun game. Don't mind it. Don't mind playing
Yeah.
2 or 3 episodes, and then that's it done for me. There's nothing special about it. But yeah, I just put them all in these collective fun game
Yes.
categories.
Gartic Phone.
Yeah, great. Again, great fun. Definitely better when you've had a drink.
Oh,
so,
yes.
so I suppose probably I'll probably have a drink probably maybe the Tuesday evening. So yeah, what we might do, that might be one of the only things that we can't show you on YouTube and Twitch.
No, we can show Gartic Phone on Twitch, can't we? Twitch is fine.
Not some of the stuff that we put on Gartic
Oh yeah,
Phone.
not some. Yeah, not.
We
some
can't
of
put the
that.
content on there.
Yes, indeed. All right, next one I think is also going to divide us because you're a big fan of this, which is Northgard.
Yeah, big time.
I don't like Northgard. For me is like I'll play it. I don't like. If someone says we'll play Northgard, I'm like yeah, sure, but I don't go. Oh, I can't wait to play this. This is going to be a great game. I'm
terrible at it, by the way. I'm absolutely terrible at it. But I fundamentally like playing the game. So I think it's graphically really pleasing. I think it's very cleverly balanced. For those who are wondering, we'll either do like sort of a 4 versus 4 on computer, or we'll do a 4v4 in the room. There are some incredibly good players in it. I'm not great at it. I can score reasonable and I can support, but in terms of knowing everything, I'm boring. I play the same Clan of the Bear.
Yeah, me too. I literally the one with the bear. Like, oh look, it's got a big bear. That'll do.
Yeah, and I just play that, and that's it. And I've never done anything good. We had a game on stream on Saturday on Twitch and on YouTube Live, and like we won, but we had it on normal difficulty. Vedic set it up, had it on normal difficulty, and we won like comfortably. We just took the center, and they didn't even try and come and get the center. So it was like we play. I mean, it was perfect. It was exactly an hour, almost like to the minute. Like,
that's ideal.
But like in any normal game, we'd have got absolutely caned. There were a couple of really good players on that though.
Rainbow Six.
No,
no, I'm not a fan.
No, I brought it. I don't even think I've done the training missions, completed the training missions, which meant we were quite like 2 hours to the training missions before I could even join the other guys playing. And I was like, I'll sack this off. It's too slow paced. It does nothing for me whatsoever.
Yeah, I would agree, and there'll be a lot of people who in the chat who will completely disagree with this on this. But remember, as I say to my wife, you're always wrong, and I'm always right. Rainbow Six is a terrible, terrible game. Now, on to probably, I would say, the most exciting one out of, I think we've already touched on it, Sins of a Solar Empire 2.
Yeah, massively looking forward to it. On the last Sins of Solar Empire Rebellion, unbelievable number of hours. That game, that game during lockdown, I pumped that full of probably 300 hours during lockdown.
Jeez.
Me and the Sentry used to play
Yeah, I remember.
probably twice a week, and we had like a Star Wars mod, so it changed everything into Star Wars.
Yeah, I remember that. No, it's Star Trek.
We had a Star Trek and the Star Wars one.
Yeah.
I just literally had I had to change to modded versions because I played it such the same way that I just knew exactly like the exact order to get to this style of ship with this upgrade, and then just build them en masse, and it became like fairly easy. So I played so much that it like became clockwork. But yeah, I love playing that. The new one came out. We had Run Race. It's still in. I don't know if it's in beta. It might still be alpha. Might be beta alpha. But yeah, I played it. I was like, it's fundamentally different, which I like. I think there's some things that are really cool. I love the fact that the map changes and that the interconnectivity of the planets changes. So you can't go, right, I've got a pinch point here, because it could change, and you can have like someone with the starbase here that all of a sudden is connecting all the way around them. So you've got in the top right hand corner, you've got a what happens in the next hour. So if you click it and it tells you what's going to catch, so you have to go, right, we've got people over here. I know where roughly everyone is. Yeah. You got like the level of planning is superb.
It's almost like real time strategy.
I mean, it is real time strategy.
Yeah. But like, I'm just touching on Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion. The amount of hours that we collectively over links have put into that game. So we would do like 8-10 person games. So we'd do probably like 4 or 5 on 5, something like that. And I'm not exaggerating here. 8 to 10 hour games. We would be sat there. And then it would get to near the end of the game, and it couldn't cope with all of the ships moving around. It would crash, and we couldn't finish the game.
Yeah,
like
almost every day.
Yeah, so frustrating.
Yeah.
So hopefully they've sorted that issue with 2 when it drops in final release, whenever that's going to be. So there's two more games. Well, there's one more game in the top 10, but I think the second one, number 11, is probably more interesting for both of us, because I'm not really interested in the first one. So the first one's 7 Days to Die. Never really
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Happy to give it a go, but
Age of Empires 4.
Yes, I really like it. I the reason I like it so much is I play it offline. Is because I can generally go and do an RTS game in about 25 minutes, so it's quite good fun when I'm at home. I have a bit of lunch and I could just go and play a quick half-hour mission or a quick skirmish. I like the modding community. There's so many map mods, so many custom maps. You've got but mods in terms of like double villager speed, like a wall upgrade, or a usual it's like 200 people capacity. You can go up to a 500 or 1,000 capacity. Like there are some balancing elements in there depending on like sort of what you like to play. So yeah, I just turn on like double people speed.
Yeah, definitely.
And so that just allows me to sort of guarantee getting a game in half an hour. I've got a level. I've got like there's sort of like easy, normal. I've got easy, intermediate, hard. And I sort of play on I play against hard. You've now got like 4 levels below that.
Oh,
like,
wow.
So and I play hard, and it's fine depending on the map layout. Map layouts are so critical in the game.
Oh yeah, huge.
It makes it. You have like almost, if you're certain empires, you're at a massive disadvantage depending on what the random map generation is. So sometimes it is a matter of sort of getting lucky. But yeah, I really do like it. I wish that they brought out almost like the next generation of that, rather than just like refresh. I wish that someone just went and create an RTS game that is designed for half-hour, 40-minute play.
Yeah,
that is attacking. That's good. If you want to play a defense game, you play a defense game. If you want to play an attacking game, play an attacking game. that's got sort of level up progression. I think that is a gold mine waiting to be untapped, and I haven't seen anything yet. I've got a lot of RTS games on my Steam wishlist, and I've not seen anything that rivals that's out yet. Although there was a couple of things I think coming out next year that might do the job.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that rounds out the top 10 from the list at the moment. Now, that's not to say that games outside the top 10 won't be played. So, like, I'm looking at things like obviously X Defiant, which we've touched on.
Yeah.
I think we'll definitely play Chivalry 2. I imagine Civ will be played once, and that'll be it.
So that's a game that I won't play.
Yeah,
I'm not a turn-based gamer. I don't like turn-based strategy. For me, I've got to be always constantly doing something, and I can't do turn-based. And you don't really. For me, it doesn't work. So like, it still doesn't suit my style of entertainment of games. So, but then when when they're playing that for like 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. And it's a long game. Like, so that's when, for example, so like the others will be playing that. I might be on my own. So I might. To be fair, I'll probably be editing YouTube videos at that moment.
We'll be playing PGA Tour 2K23 on stream.
Well, exactly. So that is what we're going to be playing, PGA Tour 2K23. What we should have a look at, is there a new one out this year? Is there a 24 out?
Don't know. I mean, someone on the TikTok that I did yesterday was saying, "Is there going to be any more PGA Tour 2K23 from you and Devastate?" And I was like, "Absolutely, this year, absolutely." So, need
to get some practice in from that.
Just Jackpot. Go on.
We're doing Jackpots just in this weekend. Make sure you get hold of it. If you've got Amazon Prime,
I do.
Go on to gaming.amazon.com. You've got Deceive Inc. It's a free game with if you have Prime.
I got it.
Make sure you download that, and that's just a free shout to anyone out there. If you want a free game, Deceive Inc. looks incredible. We're going to be playing it during the link up. So that's it.
And then Rocket League.
Yeah,
I think Rocket League we'll play it probably a few times.
Not Sonic. Turbo Golf Racing. I'm looking forward to playing that.
Turbo Golf Racing. I'm just looking at what other games.
And then the only other thing I'm just going to say is we've secured some free codes for the week from the developer for Witch Wizards, which apparently is a really cool game. A couple of other streamers have mentioned it. And then another game that I would like to play, I think it'd be really fun. We spoke about it with Rage, was Oh Dear, which we spoke about. Yeah. Quite like to play that. And
there's only one vote for that.
Yeah, because no one knows what it is. It's probably me.
Yeah, true.
And then there's a one person. Well, there's a couple of people have been speaking about a game called Chained Up.
Oh yes.
Now I'm just like, fine. If any, it looks just like Only Up, that game that blasted off last year, and it just looks like that with 2 people. But what I would love,
4 people.
Yeah, but two people are chained together. Not all 4 chained together, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I've been watching.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
No. Honestly, I've been watching a few guys streaming it on TikTok Live. And honestly, it looks. I think for a link up, it'll be absolutely hilarious. Like particularly with the likes of Vedic and Masanevra, who are going to be awful at that game.
Yeah.
And you put it with someone, if you put like them two with like, I know, Rage and Lex, who are probably going to be quite good at it, it'll be absolutely comical.
That may be one where we get them recording and actually like playing it. Yeah, I'm down for that. And then I think that's about it. And then what will happen during the week? We'll have some rogue suggestions. Now, the really good thing about it is that obviously, if we get the games on Steam, we have effectively 2 hours free to play them. So what I've done previously is I will go buy the game on Steam. No matter what, hour and a half later, I'll go and get a refund anyway. And then I'll go and find it on like a something like from DL Compare or like a Kinguin or CD Keys, and get it a bit cheaper.
Yep.
But as long as
Yeah.
it's a legitimate copy, it's fine.
Indeed. So we've obviously touched on the tier list from a games perspective, but I think what will be nice now is if we move into Devastate, doing a tier list of the gamers from the link up. So
Ooh.
there's one gamer this year who nobody's heard of or seen before on any of the Raw Link Up socials. So we're going to exclude him for the purposes of this because no one's ever heard of him, which is fine. So there will be 11 gamers, obviously including Devastate and myself, on there. So what we'll do is we'll tier list it. So we'll do S tier is obviously really good, the best, and we'll go S, A, B, C, D. So if you're in D, you might as well just leave, just go home. And there'll probably be at least one in there. I can think who that might potentially be. But let's start with me. Where are you going to rank me, Devastate?
I think you are the definition of a beta male. So I am putting you in the B tier, mate.
B tier.
I just think that you're a good all-round player. I think that you'll, apart from say like a PUBG, I don't think there's any games that you particularly will ever be last at. I think some games that you automatically are sit in the top 1 or 2 in the group.
Go for your friends.
Go for your friends. And
Any
racing game, or if you're sat on top of a crane in an old Battlefield game.
Exactly. Any sniping on obviously elite.
Yeah,
but I'll take a B tier.
I think B is fair. Fair.
All right. Where are you going to rate yourself?
I am going to put myself. I've got to be fair here. I think with this one, I'm going to put myself, and obviously I haven't thought about anyone else yet, but I'm thinking I put myself either at bottom of B, or maybe top or top of C.
Yeah.
Now I might move that around depending on who else, because I haven't thought about anyone else yet.
All right. Third, we've got Ace, who was on the podcast not too long ago. Where are you putting Ace? Because he's terrible at RTS. He's terrible at RTS, but he's really good at FPS.
Oh, this is so tough. He's B as well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. All right, number 4, acidic virus.
It is incredibly hard to rank acidic virus.
Yeah,
and the reason being is if you look at his Twitch stream and go follow twitch.tv acidic_virus_, the games he plays he's bloody brilliant in.
Yeah.
Now, it almost feels unjust if I rank him on all of just the link up, but if I rank him as a gamer in general. But I am gonna put acidic virus in an A tier. Yeah. I don't know where. It depends what, but I'm going to put acidic virus in an A tier, and because purely, he probably plays more games than both of us. His gaming hours, he's in competitions with was it the Long Dark? So, like he's a semi-professional gamer. So I can't really put a semi-professional gamer anywhere less than A, surely.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He's very good at the most of the games. I'm trying to think of a game that he's bad at. I can't think of a game that he's bad at.
He's good at RTS. He's good at FPS. I mean, he was a Counter-Strike player for God knows how many years.
He
was in clans of Counter-Strike. He's good on Battlefield. I don't know. I can't remember him on racing games.
No.
Can you golf with your friends? Is he bad on golf with your friends?
I mean,
might be debatable, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next one, Vedic. Remember Vedic, for those of you who aren't au fait with Vedic, he was born in the year 4300 BC. So he's incredibly old, very wise. But let's see where Devastate is going to rank him.
Very tough again. Because I don't believe I've ever seen a worse golf with your friends player.
I know, he's so bad.
I mean,
absolutely horrific.
And I mean, that should, just by all accounts, put you at bottom of D.
Yeah, but then
Now, he is a very good RTS player. Very good RTS. Good strategic player in general on a lot of games.
Yeah.
Can fly a helicopter well in Battlefield.
Really well. But is he that good in first FPS generally?
Pretty good. But his score, like, it's getting, like, the weighting of Golf with Your Friends has such a strong bearing on your quality.
Because it's such a basic game, isn't it? Like, it's such a basic game. How can you be so bad at such a basic game?
So I think I'm going to put him in C tier.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Right, moving on to some interesting gamers here. Rage, Mr. Rage Quits, who we had on not too long ago on the podcast.
I think he's a really good all-round gamer. I think he does pretty well. He can't play Among Us, as we sort of discussed earlier. But all-round, incredibly good at Rocket League. Unbelievably good at Rocket League.
But then I don't think he's very strong on RTS, is he? Because he doesn't really like RTS games.
No. He's very good.
Any FPS game he's really good at.
Yeah, and the strategic, like all like the sort of scare games, like your 7 Days Star, he's really good on all of those sorts of games.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I will put him. I'm gonna put him in A for now.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Now again, because I think there should only ever be one person in S. There should only be two people in A. So I think that depending on what comes in a minute.
Well, your next two are difficult.
Right. Okay.
All right. Next one, Lex.
What?
So Lex is obviously the youngest of all of us, comfortably, and has obviously got far better reaction times than us very old folk. And from an FPS perspective, he's really, really good. Any fast-paced game, he's very, very good at.
Fall Guys, he's insane at. Oh
yes.
my god!
He was really good at it, wasn't he? Yeah, but I can't remember him playing much RTS. Similar to Rage, I can't remember.
No, that's when we used to send him to the shops for breakfast.
Yeah.
You used to go down.
You're right.
Either go and get a Wenzel's, a Greg's, or McDonald's breakfast runs.
No. If you remember last year, he always went to go and get a coffee from Costa, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because he went to the Costa, because we got there's obviously a million Costa drive-throughs or Starbucks drive-throughs, and he'd always go when we would then start playing RTS. He'd be like, "Right, I'm off. I'm gonna go and get a coffee or whatever," and then we're like, "Right, as you go in, we want a breakfast order."
Okay. I have decided Lex is going top of B.
Oh, okay. All right. Nails.
For me, quite simple. S tier.
Yeah.
S tier gamer. Put it this way: if it is an RTS game,
you won't win.
Everyone knows if he's on your team, you've won already.
Yeah.
So
we generally have to balance the teams. If we're playing an RTS, we will put Nails and whoever is the worst at RTS with Nails so that it makes it slightly fairer because he is that good at it. So he used to play, what was the game that he used to play absolutely shed loads of?
He's arguably the biggest like in terms of hours in games, probably the biggest gamer. His library is in the thousands of games.
Yeah.
Every day like he's playing a strategic game of some sort. It's like he'll do card versions of games. It'll be RTS games, turn-based games. He's also, I mean, this week he started playing PAX Die. But he says not ready. It's definitely not ready yet because I was looking forward to playing PAX Die, not the link up, but just in general. But he said it's not worth getting yet. We've played some incredible games with Nails. We there was one game I can't remember for the life of me what it was called, but it was a first person shooter for 4 people of your team, and one person played RTS, placing stuff down, and
it was Nuclear Dawn.
Nuclear Dawn. Yes,
Nuclear Dawn.
that was incredible. So there was 4 of us playing FPS, Nails playing as the RTS player, placing stuff down for us to use. That was superb, and absolutely. Look, we didn't have to think twice. For me, Nails does well across the majority of games. Not the greatest God for Your Friends player, but doesn't generally finish last.
Yeah, agreed. And to Devastate's point on his Steam library, like if a game has come out on Steam, he's probably played it. Whether it be for 30 minutes, couple of hours, like we've got a WhatsApp group chat. Someone mentioned, has anyone seen XYZ game? And Nails will be like, oh yeah, I've done a couple of hours on that this week. And I'm like, it came out like yesterday. Like he is always gaming. So yeah, I'd have to agree with Devastate's point there. All right, 3 to go.
Okay.
Sentry. He's quite a difficult one, isn't he? Like
C tier.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. He's very good at like he's good at sins.
Yeah, fair all round player.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, fair all
round. Mass and Everett.
D. I've never seen anyone like suck at so many games.
Yeah.
While professing he thinks he's good at the game.
Yes, yeah, that's the big thing. He's so bad, but claims he's that good.
Yeah. So, like, I think, for the person that started this all, the founder of the link up, to be that bad, says something about his character. But ultimately, all jokes aside, yeah, definitely D tier. I might renew. It's the noob tier.
Yeah, I'd
the
agree
noob
with that.
tier, the absolute noob. Yep,
I'd agree with that. I'm actually so the last person. Obviously, what do you remember what he was referred to on last year's TikTok streams? Because obviously he was sat next to me. Do you remember what he was referred to? Man like Adrian.
Man like Adrian.
Do you remember?
Oh,
it's a difficult one because he's good at RTS. Generally, he's not too bad at FPS either. He has his like with Golf with Your Friends. He'll have his moments where he'll be absolutely really good, but also moments when he'll get a 14.
I think for me, it's a C.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. So, do I want to change anything?
So S you got Nails.
A
you've got
Acidic Virus and Rage.
Yeah.
In B, I've got in this order Lex, you, and Ace.
Yeah.
C is probably where I need to change maybe a bit of the order. So I've got me, Vedic, Sentry, and Adrian. And I think Adrian. Man like Adrian. So my question is, do I bump Vedic to the bottom?
I think that could be viable. I think that could be viable. And then you've also got Massaneva in D tier by
And
himself.
yeah,
Yeah.
in fact, actually, I'll keep that as it is. Like, C, take it as you want. Like, then they're not technically in a particular order. Every one of them's got a strength. Every one of them can win games on their own. And then Massanevra is in the noob category, bottom category. You could argue he's there to make up the numbers. That's me being a bit harsh. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, but
But
harsh but fair.
harsh but
Harsh
fair.
but fair.
So let me know what you think in the comments to that. I've tried not to be controversial, but I'm sure we're gonna have future guests that are sorely going to disagree.
Yeah, we should ask, like, so the next guest we have on the podcast, who we won't say who it's going to be, but we'll get their opinion on it for sure, because I think that will be a really interesting discussion. But like, from my perspective, I think you've done it pretty fairly.
There is one person that we haven't ranked.
Who?
That person is not there this year, but has been there for many, many, many a year.
Well, yeah, there's quite a few, isn't there?
But who we are going to be speaking to in the next couple of days. So, where is it fair that I rank Lollipop?
Yes, I think it is. Yeah.
Which is actually probably...
Yeah, well, whilst Devastate is deliberating, so Lollipop wasn't at the link up. She was at the link up, but not gaming last year. She was joining on people's PCs here and there, but she didn't bring her PC and stuff. She had work commitments, etc., so she couldn't. And this year, it just coincides with her one of her big holidays that she does every year. So unfortunately, she can't make it this year. But she has been a stalwart. Would that be a good stalwart of the link up for many, many, many years? So yeah, there's a little insight to Lollipop, but yeah, I think, where would I put her? Because she will freely admit she's probably not very good at RTS.
Well, she won't even play an RTS. She'll flat out refuse.
Yeah. Scare games.
Yeah, scare games is her bag.
Yeah. So like Left 4 Dead, she was really good at it. Left 4 Dead 2, obviously, back in the day. I know she's played a lot of 7 Days to Die. I haven't. Yeah. She's all right at first FPS generally. Golf with your friends. How was she?
Fair level.
Yeah.
C.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Mid CT. In fact, above Vedic. And if you know, you know.
Indeed.
But yes, that is my final list.
I think it's a good list. I think it's a fair list. I think if I was going to do it, it wouldn't be far too different from that, if I'm honest.
I think we're having to have one in S tier and the maximum of 2 in A. Sort of forces your hand a little bit. 3 in B, the majority in C, and Massanevri in noob last year. I think it's the fairest point.
I'd agree with that. Right. Well, I think that about wraps up this episode of the podcast, episode number 7. If you're still listening and watching, we sincerely appreciate it. Please
long episode today.
Pretty long episode, like just over an hour. But a lot of good discussion there from my perspective. In terms of making sure you're liking and subscribing, we really appreciate all the engagement and interaction. If you're not following us on our other socials, particularly TikTok and Twitch, we would really appreciate any follows there, because we are very close to the 10,000 mark on TikTok and very close to the 50 followers on Twitch. So we'd really appreciate a follow there. We'll be back. When are we going to push the next episode live? Before the link up?
No. I think that we're going to try and we're going to probably try and do a live stream before Saturday.
Okay.
We got to record another podcast. But I think we'll end up, depending on when we can schedule in doing the live podcast. So it might be that episode goes live during the week as well. So you might get a bonus episode. You might get two. You might get two podcasts.
I think we should. Given it as it's link up week, we should treat the viewers and the listeners to a double game week. We'll call it a double game week.
Yes.
A double podcast week. But yes. I think we'll leave it there. Thank you everyone for listening. We really appreciate all of the interaction and engagement with the podcast as always. I am your host, the Amazing Sniper Beef.
Hi guys, Devastate here. Thank you very much for watching. And just one quick final plug. Merch still available. This is the 26th special edition. It is on sale only until a week Sunday. So less than 2 weeks before this merch drops off the face of the planet. It is never coming back. So just a quick plug to get your order in. And I would love it if you can share pictures of that on Twitter or on Insta and tag us in the pictures, and we give you a follow back. And we give you a shout out. Chuck them on the Reddit. Obviously, on Reddit you can put in any games you want to see us play or any subjects you want to see us talk about. And yes, that is it for me. Thank you very much for joining this podcast. It's probably our longest podcast that we've ever done. And it's just, you've listened to me rabbit on for long enough. So I would say thank you very much for watching. My name has been Devastate, and I'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys.